Today I'm making one of my most requested recipes, a delicious bacon, cheese and spinach quiche.
So let's get started. Okay, so we've just come over to the stove and I'm going to put in some olive oil, or you can use rice bran oil. And I'm just going to put the stove on. And I'm going to bring it up to a medium-high heat. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my bacon. And my onion, which I finely chopped. And I'm just going to allow that to brown up a bit. Now I'm going to be adding some spinach to this today, but I also sometimes add mushrooms or capsicum or whatever's around, because it's a really nice way to get extra veggies into your meals, and it's especially a good way to get kids to eat their veggies because they can't really tell in a quiche. So you can sneak a few in, which is always good. So we can see that there's some color in the bacon and the onion now, and what I'm going to do is add my spinach and allow that to wilt down into the mixture. So you can see that the spinach will wilt down pretty fast, and once it's pretty much at this level, we can probably turn off the stove. So now what we have to do is line the pastry into the pan and make the custard, add the bacon mixture, and we're good to go. Okay, so now it's time for us to line the pie pan with our puff pastry. I know a lot of people use short crust pastry, but I prefer puff. So that's what I'm going with today. I'm just going to get a pastry sheet out of here and pop it into the pie pan. And I don't mind it looking a little rustic and just coming out over the edges, so I like to do it like that. I don't line it with butter or anything, I just usually pop the pastry straight in, and I don't seem to have any problems with it either. And I don't poke any holes in it, it's just a straight flat piece of puff pastry. Okay, so now we're going to put in the bacon mixture, which has cooled slightly. Okay, and we're just going to make sure that it's nice and even over the base. Now, the secret, I find, to a good quiche, which a lot of people ask me, is how come your quiches always taste so good? The answer is really simple. Lots of cheese. So I always make sure that I cover the bacon mixture with a really, really good layer of cheese. So I can basically hardly see the bacon mixture underneath. So once you do that, you can see that, you know, there's a really, really good layer of cheese on there. All we have to do now is make the custard, which is a really, really simple process as well. I'm just going to take some milk. And I'm just going to measure out my milk. I basically use 1 egg to a 1/4 cup of milk, and that's how I make my ratio of custard. So I'm using 3 eggs. And so that basically means I'm going to use 3/4 of a cup of milk. So once the milk's in, it's really simple. And I don't particularly use cream or full milk. I use skim milk, and it doesn't compromise on the flavor at all. So I'm just gonna quickly break the yolk up with a fork and whisk it through. And I want to make sure that there's no big bits of yolk in there, because then you'll get that eggy taste, which isn't very nice. Ideally, if you have a whisk, that'll also do the job pretty fast. But yep, see, it's all even colored now. Now to that, I'm going to add some herbs. Now today I'm using parsley. And then I'm going to add some salt and pepper. Going for the pepper first. I'm pretty generous with the pepper because there's a lot of mixture and I find it gives a nice flavor. And a good amount of salt, not too much because your bacon and your cheese will have salt in it. If you're using a mild cheese, you may need to use more salt, but if you're using like a tasty or a cheddar cheese, which is also any strong flavored cheese, then you don't need quite as much salt. So that's done, and now we just have to pour the custard over the mixture. And then, you know, if you want a bit more parsley on top, you can do that too. Sometimes I also sprinkle chili powder on top, it just gives a bit more color. Doesn't really affect the flavor in any way, but it just makes it look more warm and vibrant when it's cooked. Anyway, so this is ready to go into the oven. It's basically going to be there for about 35 minutes, and then it'll be all done. Yum. So our quiche has come out of the oven and it is done perfectly. And I think now what we need to do is have a taste. There we go. Alright guys, see you soon. I'm going to eat now.